How fast can you go those first few days where there's no code? And someone comes to you and says, can you get a feature done? And you think, yes. You start writing code. Code pours out of every orifice of your body.
I'm liking this intro, like Uncle Bob yelling about code pouring out of every orifice in your body. I'm on team orifice pour, okay? If I ever play World of Warcraft and I start a clan, it's going to be called orifice pour, okay? I'll probably get banned, but I just want you to know that I think that's a pretty good name.
And you get that feature working. And everybody goes, whoa, you got that working fast. It only took you a few days. We're programmers. Can you do it again? Yes! Come back to that team a year later. Can you get a feature working for us? Tricky. Probably going to take us 6 months. You used to be able to do that in a couple of days. Yeah, but you don't know.
I do like this take. I think the conclusion is going to be slightly misguided. I like where this is going. You don't know how it feels. Oh, I know how it feels.
See, this system has become why. If we touch even one line of code, all hell could break loose.
Yep, I've done that.
Why'd that happen? Now, here's the thing that happens to software teams, right? They start out fast. They start out with a beautiful design, and they start out lovely, and they're fast, and they write features, and everything's working great. But they make a mess. Because they want to go fast. They make a mess. And as they make a mess, as the mess builds, the team gets slower and slower and slower until they bottom out at 1% of their original productivity.
It's very true. So I love that. I love that. I love that take. I do not like Uncle Bob's conclusion to that take, which of course is TDD and clean code. I don't think that that's a good conclusion, right? I am not on team clean code. I'm never going to be on team clean code. I'm never going to be on what Ryan Winchester one time said. Ryan Winchester, I know you're in the chat. Ryan Winchester, Ryan Winchester, Ryan W, right here. Ryan Winchester said the following phrase, which is, where'd you say it? Where'd you say it, Ryan? Where'd you say it? Where did you say it? Oh yeah, there we go. Remember back when we all read clean code, and then to do one thing, we wrote 25 small functions across several files instead of one 20-line function that you could look at and say, I know exactly what the function is doing. Remember this? I will never be a clean codogen, okay? It's just that when you break up your functions continuously, it is one of the hardest ways to run through a program. So I do not like Uncle Bob's conclusion. I am fine with slightly larger functions. I am fine with testing at proper boundaries. I am fine foregoing tests to get the initial idea out the door, just to get the idea. But like any good programming shop, if you simply don't have the right mentality set in, which is anytime you go for breakneck speed, you also have to dedicate time to try to reorder the project. Like if you don't do that, it's difficult. It's really, really difficult. And sometimes here, I'm going to say one more thing about this. Sometimes you don't even know what the right solution is, and there's literally no way to know what the right solution is without first building it. Anyone that tells you that they can come up and just write out the design of a program first and it's super nice are full of the cleanest and most purest form of horseshit. Almost exclusively. To be able to write pure and delicious code that will live on and is extensible and all these things requires you to have clairvoyance. Like you just don't have it. You're not seeing into the future. And almost every time I see somebody try to predict the future, they build an abstraction that when we extend it becomes much harder, not easier. Don't abstract. Wait for the correct thing to come out. Void star, the ultimate abstraction. Who doesn't love a little good void starring from time to time? Okay, anyways, let's go back to this video because I do want to watch this video. I'm hoping that the sound isn't all jacked up now that we're switching.
And this is what I got, right? I put this case statement in the front that trapped all the execution paths.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of methods that look like this that I created and added to the Gilded Rose.
Okay, what language are we even looking at here? Okay, I see a case when. I'm not really sure what a case when. Are we like, is this Fortran? What is this? What is this? Ruby? This is Ruby? This is DHH slang? Okay.
class. And the rest of the tick method still contains that monstrous 43-line if statement, which I don't understand, but I no longer need, so I'm just going to delete it. It's gone. Now, if you don't have good tests, this may freak you out. But then if you feel freaked out by this and you don't have good tests, you're really making a choice here, right? If you have code that you don't understand and that you're afraid to change, you can keep it forever if you think that's a good idea, or you can put some kind of test furnace around it so that you can refactor. But keeping it forever is not really a good choice. So you want to get to the point where you have confidence that you can safely refactor, and it means you never have to understand that code. You can do characterization tests around the edges so that you'll have green, you'll have a wall at your back for tests, and then you can refactor your way to the point where you can delete the code that you don't understand.
Short fiction has some really interesting...
That's not a bad approach. I mean, I like that. I like that you have to be able to test at the proper boundary level and then being able to just simply... I mean, the hard part is that if you don't understand the code, how are you supposed to understand every test case? I mean, that's like the fundamental problem with that statement, is that if you don't know exactly what you want, then... and you cannot understand the code, like how are you to refactor such things? Like I love the idea. I'm not quite following the logic. And second off, every time I've seen code written really bad, like we're talking like really bad, and I think I could fix her, then I rewrite it. About 3/4 way through, I realize an edge case I missed. So I go back. I fix that edge case. Oh no, my code's starting to kind of look like the previous code. I go forward. Again, run into another problem. Have to fix my code. Uh-oh, we're starting to look a lot like the previous solution. So we go forward. Nope, there's one more thing I missed. Well, oh shit. I just rewrote somebody's code and it looks identical. Like, yeah, maybe it went through a slight brain translation, but it's the same thing. So whenever you see shitty code, you have to first ask yourself why. Ask the person that wrote it, if you have the chance, why is it written this way? Like, what could you walk me through it? And as long as you have a good coworker that will actually take the time to talk to you and walk you through things, I know not all coworkers are good like that. Some of them do not want to do any of that. I get it. But if you do have a good one, they will walk you through and you'll be able to understand it, and it just makes a lot more sense. You know what I mean? And then you realize why. And then maybe you could rewrite it. Maybe you could rewrite the code. But maybe if you rewrote it, you'd still arrive to the same conclusion. You know what I mean? It's a hard one. It's a hard problem. And I'm under absolutely no conclusion that I somehow am going to write it better.
Creative crossovers and contradictions with the world of software development. But you can always tap on it for a great series of quotes, because people write well. One of the interesting challenges that we have here, William Thackeray's quote, "There are 1,000 thoughts lying within a man."
I can't believe this is called Go-To Conference. Second off, the inspirational music plus all these little cutout moments. It's kind of ridiculous, but we're gonna go. We're gonna do this, okay?
That he does not know till he takes up the pen to write. This is the very situation we find ourselves when we try to plan a piece of software. When we sit down and say, I can conceive of the whole, I'm going to write this down, we're going to analyze and design, we're going to do it all up front. The minute you start writing, the world changes. You suddenly realize, there's a different way of doing this. And if you don't realize it, because unlike most writing, software development is a team activity, somebody else will realize it. And it's normally for a person. So the other person will realize it. So this is one of the interesting things, is that it doesn't matter how hard you think.
There are several studies that try to...
I don't really quite get that last one. I mean, me personally, I would just say write an MVP of it. Write a prototype of it. Yeah, these microphones are actual potatoes.
There are several studies that try to quantify what's the impact of interruptions in our work as developers. And it seems that every time that we are interrupted, we waste between 10 and 15 times of time, of 10 and 15 minutes, to load back into our head the context of the task that we were doing before.
I really have to question this hypothesis. I know we state this all the time. This when you're interrupted for 15 seconds, it causes 25 minutes of distraction. It's like, does it? I'm gonna hit you with something real for a quick second. If you're working on a problem for like an hour or 2 hours, and then someone comes up and asks you a question, and you shit out every possible context and you have to start back over from the ground to remember what you're doing, I'd be a little worried. Like personally, I would be a touch worried. Now, you may forget a little here, a little there. I get that. But to forget absolutely all context, that's goldfish-driven development. You need to get on those omega-3s, okay? I need you hitting some omega-3s, drink a little bit of coffee, and sleep in your bed for a while, okay? You need to get better sleep, you need to eat better, and you need to exercise, because whatever's happening upstairs, that ain't right, okay? When someone interrupts me and something happens, yeah, I might forget like the latest moment I'm on, maybe. Maybe I'm set back just a touch, but it's not 50 minutes. If you're distracted by 50 minutes, I got a lot of questions. Do you remember all your code? Absolutely, I don't remember code I've written 3 years ago. But 15-minute distraction is not 3 years ago code. Nobody remembers 3 years ago code. Everybody knows that code, really, you genuinely think, hold on, I got to hear this. I got to hear it. Hit me with facts. So you're telling me when you get distracted for 10 minutes, you completely forget everything. Shut up, TJ. Is that what you're trying to tell me? I gotta know. It's super complicated business. Logic, yes. So you literally forget everything in 10 minutes. You know that Ron Burgundy one where they're just like, I don't believe you. I feel like that's what I don't know how complicated things have to be for me to forget everything. Like, yeah, I'll forget maybe something. Maybe I won't have it all perfectly in my memory anymore. But like a 15-minute break makes you forget all the things? Like an O-Camel out of 10, you forgot everything. I'm doing pretty good remembering a lot of things from when I picked it up. It's not just that I forget what I was doing. It's trying to clear my head of what I was distracted by. Really? Like, I get that you have to, you slow down for a second. Maybe. I think okay. So when you change tasks, you continue to think about your previous task? You don't just like just dunk it? What? Why? Why are you thinking about something? Why? It sounds like some of you need to take a piece of paper, write down what you need to think about later, and then just focus on the task at hand instead of trying to think about two things at once. It's probably neurodivergence. It's neurodivergent. That's how the brain works. Okay, well then my brain doesn't work properly. I guess my brain don't work properly. All right, people saying that I missed something. I guess I'm acoustic.
There are several studies that try to quantify what's the impact of interruptions in our work as developers. And it seems that every time that we are interrupted, we waste between 10 and 15 times of time, 10 and 15 minutes, to load back into our head the context of the task that we were
10 to
for being
15
interrupted.
minutes.
So to be efficient, it's paramount that we reduce the number of interruptions to a minimum.
You guys got to go code on Twitch for a little bit, okay? I expect everyone that suffers from this problem, I need you to start reading chat and coding, okay? I need you to take a little bit of time and train your brain to keep stack state, okay? You just got to push and pop that stack, baby. Come on, push and pop that stack.
So that we have long periods of time where we can focus on the task at hand. There are basically two types of interruptions, the ones that you control and the ones that other people control. The ones that we control is probably the worst offender. If you think that little pop-up does nothing for your concentration, the truth is that for your brain, it looks more like this. Millions of years of evolution have made our brains very sensitive to any unexpected movement, mostly because of the fear of being eaten.
Maybe my evolutionary brain broken, but when something pops up, I'm like, I'm in the middle of this. Don't worry. The notification symbol will be there later, and I will be able to go and look at it. I just can ignore it. I just have the ability to completely ignore it. I don't. Maybe I never evolved,
But
dude.
by the time
I'm
the pop-up
actually a
disappears, you have freed
monkey.
the subject, the sender, and your brain is already working on it. So the first habit of efficient developers is disable all notifications.
Why?
And so not just email notifications, but all of them.
Just
In
don't
fact, you
look
don't
at
even want to see the
That's the point of a notification, is it stays there until you check it. Why are you guys looking at notifications every time they come in? What are you doing with your life? It stays on your phone. Oh my goodness, this is like the greatest bicycle meme I've ever seen. Bicycle meme. Stick. Puts it in. Why am I hurt? Why does this hurt
number
me?
of great notifications anywhere on your screen. The only notification that you want to see, and see that one you want it on your face, is the one that tells you that you broke the bill. Now, I think email is amazing because it's asynchronous.
What happened if you get notified when you broke the build? Checkmate, atheist. Checkmate, evolutionist. Try again.
You can deal with it in batches. Nobody expects that you will reply to it immediately, and you can choose when to handle it, when to be interrupted. In fact, I think we don't use email often enough. So I want to ask everybody that before going.
Man, you guys are really intense about this thing. You can't be that naive. Someone said you can't be that naive. Like, real talk, it's called maturity. Like, if you can't get a notification without checking it, you simply have to learn to say no. You have to take a time in your day to say no. Like, if you cannot say no to your most base urges, that's literally the definition of not being free. The ability to not listen to your lower will is the definition and basis of freedom. You got to simply learn how to have a higher will in your lifetime. Okay? I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time coping with this because I guess as somebody who's had to fight an addiction and quit a lot of really strong vices in my life, I've learned to say no. I've also learned to protect myself. And maybe it is just a parent skill. Maybe it is just the fact of having kids. What addictions? I used to smoke a little bit of methamphetamines and pornography. Pornography being the hardest, cigarettes being the second hardest, meth being actually the third hardest of them all to quit. But saying no and being able to control your lower will is really important. Control your lower will. It's your only true form of freedom. Right? Like, you can't be free if you can't even control yourself. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good way to go about it too. If you are too distracted, that's fine. Turn off things, but it's hard turning off things. When you turn off notifications, you also miss things that you do need to respond to. There's also just a simple important hierarchy. If you look over and someone says, "Hey," you don't have to respond. If you look over and you see like the number 7 by somebody's name because they've sent you like a bunch of things, maybe that's more important to respond to. I don't know. I just usually use some sort of hierarchy of importance, and I don't need to respond to things right away. Almost nothing is intensely urgent. Very few things need to be like, I see this. My wife does this too, where she will be responding to things that like in the moment that don't need to be responded to, because they're not that important in the moment. Not all things need to be responded to, okay? Just remember that. They can be responded to later. It's okay to batch response.
Next time before going and interrupting one of your teammates, to think twice if you really, really need that answer right now. Because the same way you hate to be interrupted, other people also hate to be interrupted.
So continuous delivery fundamentally is about making releases boring. We want software delivery to be a push-button event that we can perform at any time, including evenings and weekends, and it should be something that's very low risk and repeatable, and we can use it for all kinds of changes, whether those are networking changes, database changes, software releases.
I'm happy that there's things like continuous delivery, and you want to make the developer to production pipeline as smooth as possible, and you want to have the maximum ability to know when things are not working. But if I ever hear the phrase, make a change on a weekend, and then the following phrase, a change to a database, ever again, I'm going to throat chop somebody, okay? If you make some Saturday afternoon database change, I swear you are being a bad person. You're just trying to be mean. Don't do that. Don't do that. Rude. Like, you only do that because that's what your company planned on doing. Like, hey, our company gets lowest traffic on Saturday at 4 p.m. So, everybody, we're doing this really high-risk change, database change at 4 p.m. Crazy.
Any kind of change to our production systems or to the apps our users are running should be able to be done safely and quickly and sustainably. How do we do that? Well, it's actually hard, and there are a number of things that go into it. You can see there's 14 practices that we have found in our research program to
Continuous delivery. It's about making delivery simple. How do you do it? 14 individual practices with a map that looks like this. You're just like, what? What? Why is less burnout an activity I need to partake in?
drive continuous delivery, from things like trunk-based development and continuous integration, right through to things like monitoring and observability and proactive notifications from production. Things like database change management, how we maintain our code. There's actually a number of things that drive continuous delivery. So it's a pretty holistic picture. These practices together that comprise continuous delivery don't just drive improved performance and culture, they also lead to teams that are less burnt out, that experience less pain during the deployment process, and that see less rework. And this is a nice proxy variable for quality. What this means is by giving people...
I think less rework is a good proxy variable for quality. Music choice is insane. Yeah, this is Interstellar. We're simply going to watch software talks with the idea of interstellar level anxiety in the background. It's the only way to experience full developer intensity.
People the tools to build quality in, they build a good quality work products that we find less defects in downstream, meaning that we have to do less rework because it wasn't done right the first time.
Okay. I mean, I like all the things that were said in some capacity or another. It's just a little strange, okay? Because none of this was being more efficient. Like, I'm not going to lie to you, nothing here told us how to be an efficient developer. Nothing here, like, all those individual statements can be interesting. I guess removing distractions could be good. A lot of people, it sounds like people really struggle with distractions in this audience. It sounds like what you really need is maybe a dose of maturity, more than you're going to need this. Oh, man, people are going to hate that. People hate that answer, by the way. It's why I feel like I'm exclusively hated on TikTok, is the answer to most problems I say is maturity. People just hate that. They're like, no, I will not. It is why we use the phrase adulting, because adulting is a phrase developed by children to avoid life. Hot take, dropped it, perpetual childhood, perpetual adolescence, suck on that. The name is the Primogen.